Wow, it has hi. It has indeed been a really long time since I've done any kind of live video, any kind of video actually, let alone a live one. Hello, everybody. I am Gail Carriger, your author at large, and I am really hoping some people watch this because I've been gone so long. Sometimes I wonder if I remember if I exist, let alone anybody else. It looks like I have an exciting one eyeball in each place. So, hello to YouTube. For those of you watching, when I look downwards, it's YouTube. When I look upwards, it's Facebook, because the only way I can figure out how to do this, because I am old, is simply to have two devices, one to each place. Yes, I know there are like handlers and things for this, but anyway, hello. I don't think Facebook can see this, but YouTube can. I'm about to tilt you, YouTube, but before anybody asks me in the comments below, that right there is a light. And on YouTube, you can see that it is indeed a hot air balloon light. Facebook, I will try to show you. There it is, sort of. You can sort of see it. Anyway, I get asked about it a lot. They're just paper lanterns that I then hung on an IKEA lamp, and you can get them off Amazon last time I checked. So, yeah. Now, YouTube, I'm going to tilt you a little bit because you're very angled. It's not the most flattering thing in the world. Hello, Anne. Hello, darling. How are you? Well, good. Somebody has tuned in. Please feel free to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, if you like, or what tea you're drinking, or anything. I've had quite a bit of tea this morning already. I had a meeting this morning, so I will not have an advertisement, but I'm drinking a carbonated non-alcoholic beverage. In this case, it is Pamplemousse. It is grapefruit flavored. I like grapefruit. I know that makes me a weirdo. I like a lot of fruit though. In Thailand, I ate a considerable amount of pomelo. Um, there's multiple different varieties there, and they have a white pomelo that is, oh, spectacular. Um, the other question I get all the time, especially from one of my moderators, is about this painting. So while people are tuning in and everything, I thought I would talk a little bit about the painting. It is by an artist named Tom Field, who my dad actually collected. So I inherited this painting. And it's just of a beach in California that's very near where I grew up. And so I just really I like the colors. It's sort of light and bright and airy. I like to sort of decorate sort of beachy and bright and airy, sort of spa-ish. And so it very much goes with my personal aesthetic. And yeah, I just have an affection for the strange purple car on the beach painting. That's what we call it around here. And yeah, it hangs above my couch. And because I have to do this double layer setup, I can't do my normal quote unquote filming setup for when like I have an interview or I'm doing a presentation or anything, which is at my desk, which has better lighting and everything, but does not in fact have a large painting of a purple Cadillac car thing behind it. So yes. Hello, Kat. How are you? It wouldn't let you comment at first. Okay, so here's the thing. YouTube, hello everybody on YouTube. There are now 9 people on YouTube. Hello, darlings. Is exactly the same as before I left, but Facebook, which will shock nobody, has completely changed the interface since I've been away. And so when I went to upload, it kept asking me all of these questions, and then it wouldn't let me do certain other things that I used to do. It's always a lark setting one of these things up. So if it's not letting you comment, please keep trying to comment. It does help if you comment because then I know you're actually there. Also, I'd love to have questions from you. So I did a presentation this morning. I did the Heroine's Journey this morning, which was lovely for our little local writers groups. That was a good time. So I've already been talking my little tushy off all morning, but I'm still delighted to talk to you lovelies. I hope you had nice holidays. So I left before all of the madness of the winter holidays. So I have not been around for a while now. I celebrated Christmas. We ordered Christmas food from a local vendor in Bangkok, and that local vendor's normal specialty was tacos. So basically, we got our Christmas turkey and etc. from a Thai-based taco operation, and it was, it was fine. It was perfectly serviceable. There was way too much food for us, but it was nice to have the tastes of home from a taco stand, basically. It was a little wild. Um, and then I celebrated New Year's just on the roof of the apartment complex I was staying in, watching Bangkok set off fireworks all around me, sitting in a hot tub, which was delightful and actually was how I used to celebrate New Year's, starting in high school all the way up through university and beyond into my 20s and early 30s. I always tried to celebrate New Year's by sitting in hot water, preferably a hot tub with some of my closest friends. And so it's used to be my traditional yeah, my tradition. I haven't done it in years. And then I was in Bangkok and it happened again. So that was really lovely as well. So that was what my holidays were like. I know they seem like a very long time ago now. I brought some strange chips to try for you all. For those of you who are coming or going to try to come to my manga launch party in a couple of weeks, I will bring some more strange chips. But I know you guys like to see me react to food, the Gale Mukbang show. So I thought we would do larb zab flavored chips. Larb is a ground meat salad. It is customarily quite tangy and spicy. So it's made with lime juice and sometimes also lemongrass and a couple of other things. So we'll try those in a little bit. I'm not very hungry at the moment, but we'll keep them in case you guys want to see me try them. Hello, France. My goodness, San Diego and France tuning in. This is rather exciting. Rhonda, hello. I haven't, oh God, this is amazing. Faces I have not seen in a very long time. Wow. I should do this more often. Yeah, so that was my holidays. And then Piper, who I was there to visit and sort of take care of and spend some quality time with. You all know Piper, or some of you do. She's basically one of my best author friends, and she and I run the podcast 20-Minute Delay together because we were once, and I am still, frequent travelers, but we would often travel as single women around and about, and so we would talk about what that was like and give our hot tips and tricks. Anyway, Piper and her now hubby were getting married. So that happened in January. We had a big wedding to organize. I was the officiant. I wore a suit. It's very fashionable, if I do say so myself. It was a gray silk suit. I know, aren't I? Hoity-toity. But it was lovely. That part, the Western ceremony, was fine. It was a lovely wedding ceremony, but really the Thai ceremony that came after was just really beautiful. It was a water ceremony where they do these blessings, and everybody who's there to attend the wedding comes up and blesses the couple, and it's just a really charming, poignant. Of course, we were all in tears, but it was lovely. Yeah, and then I had one final month, the short month of February there, and now I am back finally. Hello, Ohio. My goodness. Somebody asks whether I wore a cravat for my. No, I did not. It was indeed, as you might expect, very hot. We were in the south. It's the dry season, which is also quite hot. It's just always hot. It's right on the equator, so it's hot in Thailand. And so I barely wore my jacket and vest. And then as soon as it was feasible in terms of social niceties, I took the jacket off. So most of the wedding, I was actually in a matching vest. It was a 3-piece suit. So I was in a matching vest and pants and no shirt under the vest and no cravat and no tie. Way too hot. At some point in the future, I'm sure I will wear it with a shirt and cravat and tie, but probably not in Thailand. Claire says, welcome back, tuning in from Georgia. Hello. Oh, there's quite a little posse now. I'm glad. Thank you for commenting, everyone. Right. So I didn't really have a ton to, talk to you about, but I'm happy to and delighted to chat. Thailand was delightful. This is my second time there. I'd been before for a month prior. I've always kind of known I would love Thailand, so I always try to go for as long a period of time as I could manage. And last time I was there in October, which was still the rainy season, I actually think I liked that better, even though it's a little bit hotter and more humid. I just love the rain. Just as a person, I love the rain. So I was just excited. It didn't rain at all while I was there this time. When they say dry season, they mean it. October also has Golden Week plus a couple of Buddhist festivals, and so the food changes. So you Golden Week has all of these foodways associated with it in Chinatown and Bangkok, and that's amazing. And then the Buddhist festivals have a whole vegetarian suite of cuisines associated with them. And so I really appreciated both of those two things. This time around, I was there for Lunar New Year, which was also a blast and also has a bunch of different food associated with it. And this time, I also traveled quite a bit more. So this time I got to go south to Krabi, which is one of the quite far south in Thailand. So it has all of the southern cuisines for me to sample, of course, because that's really why I travel. Let's be honest, it's just to eat. And then, of course, I went up north to Chiang Mai, and that again has not just its own food of northern Thailand, but there's also influence from various different places around the north. So there's some Laotian food influences back and forth, quite frankly, and then also Chinese, different kinds of Chinese, Yunnan Chinese, and then Shan from Myanmar. So Burmese cuisine is also there. So I got to try quite a range of different things. It was truly delightful, I can tell you. I do have a blog post I'm preparing, but I always, have a lot to say about food. And I actually came back and started writing again. And so I figured it's more important for me to write fiction than to write about Thai food. But eventually I will write up the Thai food with pictures and things for you. Yeah, before you ask, I think my favorite thing I ate the whole time was a griddle cake. So it's like I don't know if it's rice and wheat flour or whatever, but it's kind of what I've seen called a Taiwanese pancake style. So it's two pieces of dough, but that is a white dough that's maybe not wheat. It's sort of chewier than wheat, so tapioca rice, something like that. And then in the middle, they will put a curry or whatever, and then it is fried on a grill top. So it's a street food. So it's sort of chewy, and then there's the delicious filling, and then it's crispy on the outside. But it is about the size of like a pancake, like like an actual, but thick, or thicker. And I had a goat version of that, and it was pretty fresh goat meat and some herbs and spices. So it wasn't a curry or anything, just inside. And I got to say, I think it was my favorite thing I ate the whole trip. It was totally delicious. I don't know. I think it's Yunnan. I think it might be, or could have been Shan Muslim. I don't know. It's very different from something I've had before. I've eaten goat frequently in the past, but almost always as a like a stew or a curry where it's full of a lot of spices. And that's fine if you're somebody who does not like really gamey meats, which I totally understand, but I happen to like gamey meats. So I really enjoyed this pancake because it really let the goat flavor kind of sing. So that was really delicious. And then on the complete other end of the spectrum, because I'm an egalitarian eater, I had a pea flour, so like split pea, ground pea flour based tofu. So they make a tofu. This is a Shan cuisine. And they make this tofu from pea flour, and then you either have it warm and it's almost like cream of wheat, it's like a porridge, or they let it cool and it solidifies, and then you slice it like tofu, but it's sort of silkier than tofu, as a different consistency. And then they eat that cold as a salad and in both cases they sort of sprinkle peanuts and chili oil and other sort of spices and condiments on top of it. And it was absolutely delicious. So those are two of my favorite things that I had. But I also tried fruits I'd never had before. I did a lot. I mean, I was there for 3 months, and I went through a couple of seasons. So I got to try some seasonal fruit, for example, that like is just not available other times of year. So it was delightful. We're just having a chatty chat today, so please feel free if you have any questions whatsoever to go ahead and pop them in, and I'm delighted to answer them. Um, Yeah, I mean, that's me and my food, really. Oh, Pifu, yes. Rhonda says, yes, Pifu. It's so good. I mean, I already really love tofu. So, I was happy to find a new variant I'd never had before. And of course, um, the pea-based one is even better for you because pea proteins, I think, last I read, are even easier to digest. So there's sort of like higher protein. So I was very excited about it. I'm so excited about it, in fact, that I have grand schemes to try to make some myself. It doesn't seem very difficult to make, so long as I can get a hold of the right peas and or pea flour. So we'll see. Wish me luck. I'll let you know when I give it an attempt. I usually do. I usually report on my successes when I'm cooking things. I don't always tell you about my failures when I'm cooking, which are numerous. Yeah. Like, I've tried to make Taiwanese, garlic chive pancakes this morning, otherwise also known as Korean pancakes, also known as various other things. Not this morning, yesterday. Not entirely successful, I'll have to say. I'll let you know if I'm successful, but I couldn't get them crispy enough. We have a question. Sue asks, any idea on what story or book that you're working on next? Hungry for new book. I am currently working on a book, which you may have heard me talk about. It's the HK book. It is the next book in the How to Marry a Werewolf series. And it is very long. It's very, very long. I'm sorry to say. It's running continually long. I tend to write relatively short books as a rule. My books tend to be around 90,000 words, a little shorter or a little longer, but that's pretty much my natural length, which in the science fiction and fantasy world isn't very long. It's kind of, it's a little on the shorter end of the spectrum. My books seem as fat as other people's books because I write a lot of dialogue, and dialogue takes up a lot of page space. So they still seem the same word length, and they seem the same fatness when they're in printed book form, but they're actually not. They're a little short. Um, Part of the reason I think that I get away with pacing too, because I'm writing comedies of manners, but you still shouldn't feel bored with my books. Anyway, this one is already over 100,000 words, so it's quite long for me, and I have a sinking suspicion it's going to be around 120, which is very long for me. And I don't know what I will do at that juncture because the longer the book, the longer the editing, the more expensive the editing process, and the longer it will take to get it out. So I am contemplating splitting this one into two books. Partly because that would allow me to get the first part out to you faster, and then while I'm finishing up and editing the second part. So, I don't know how you would feel about that because essentially it would be a duology. It would be a conjoined series. And it means there would be some sort of a cliffhanger ending. There is a natural break in the story at about the midway point. At least I think there is. But I will probably end up polling via the newsletter or the Facebook group or both or everything just to find out how you feel about that idea. Um, I will also always eventually bundle the two together so the completed book is all one thing, but I might put it out at first as two parts so that you can read it quicker. So it comes faster, but I still have to finish it. So right now I need to finish. If what you are asking, Sue, is about what I will write next after that, the answer is I have no idea. Right now, all of my energy is focused on convincing myself to finish this book, which has suddenly become a lot easier than it was being. While I was in Thailand and while I was dealing with my father and all of the stuff that has gone down in my life the last couple of years, it's been really, really hard for me to write. But knock on wood, it seems like now that I'm home and I feel a little bit more emotionally settled, even though there's still chaos and crisis around me, just thing about right now, I seem to be back to be able to write again. So I'm just focusing on writing. I'm just focusing on finishing the rough draft of the story, and then we'll see what happens next. Um, well, right now, I have no idea. I corral the muse into this book right now, and so that's what we're can be allowed to even think about right next. because therein lies madness. Mm, my trip has already made it into the new book. That is a fun question. So for those following the saga of this book, which I would do, it's not written yet, or it's not finished yet. It's not ready for you. But for those who have not been, I have been open about the fact that one of the challenges with it is it's the longest spatial time frame. So it starts. I've never written. It covers the Parasol Protectorate, but it covers the whole time periods I've written before and before and after. So it's a really long timeline, or whichever way you like to think about timelines. So it starts in the Napoleonic Wars, and then it's going to go all the way up through the very end of the very last book in the Parasolverse that I've written. At least I think it is. So one of those time periods that is referenced is the Ayutthaya time period, and also my main characters meet in what was Burma, or what was called Burma by the British Army at the time, which is the south of Bangladesh, what was called Bangladesh, still is. But so we're talking about the very, very, very furthest out that the British Empire ever expanded its conquering endeavors. And a lot of people don't know it, but they ended up in Burma, and then they were defeated. And they couldn't push any further, and they were defeated by local Burmese troops on mounted troops. So interesting, but who were very familiar with the terrain, and very adept, and they were armed with these very long. They were armed with the right kinds of weapons, even against projectiles. So yeah, so that, and my main character is at that battle. So that's kind of where kind of everything starts. And so I had to do a lot of research into that area, into the north of, so the south, and so and the southwest-ish of what is now Myanmar, and the northeast-ish of what is Thailand. Now, I couldn't travel specifically to that area. It's too dangerous right now. But I did go up to Chiang Mai, and I did go sort of investigating out into see what the, how I like to do. I like to see what the wind is like, and the air, and the sun, and the smells, and the sort of feel of the area when I'm right at a place. So that's in it. Some bits about Ayutthaya are in it. Ayutthaya is slightly before this, but it has had impact. Ayutthaya is the ancient city of Thailand, like the famous big one. There are many, but it's the big one that is well known. And you can visit the archaeological site. And of course, being a former archaeologist, I love that part. So we went to Ayutthaya, which was a delight. So bits of that are going to definitely come in. So there's quite a bit has already leaked in. Some food bits have already leaked in. So yeah. And also some bits about sort of like cultural conflict and different ways of communication. And of course, tea. I visited a tea garden while I was there, and got to eat my first fresh tea leaf, and think a lot more about the practice of tea and tea making and how it's changed as it's traveled around the world. So there's a little bit of conflict between East and West around tea. In terms of things like brewing it very dark and putting milk in it, shocking. Also drinking it from a handle rather than with two hands, and showing proper respect and all that sort of thing. So there's been a little tea conflict moment. That was fun to write. So thank you for that question, Ty. That was lovely. Yeah, it is a fact that no matter what I do, when I travel, bits of my travel usually end up in the book I'm writing, or at least get logged for future books. Oh, somebody says they're happy to write for the epic. Yes, this is quite an epic saga. Holly asks, how long is your typical novel or novella? Generally speaking, the ones that are in series is like Soulless, for example. Soulless is 95,000 words. And that's, I consider, sort of comfortable for me. I think most of those books were in and around 90 to 95. When I originally wrote Soulless, it was only 80,000 words. And then I went in after it sold, and I added in a lot of world building to sort of make it a little bit more. I think I find myself naturally writing at about 70, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore considering this one is going long. Novellas, my novellas, they can be anywhere from 40 to 50. And then some of them that people think of novellas aren't really because they're over 60 or 70. So, I read the gambit. I don't really consider myself, I've written some shorts, but I don't really consider myself very comfortable writing less than 40,000. And I generally speaking try to hit at least 50. So I think everything is about 50,000 at least. And I'm thinking about like Romancing the Werewolf, Romancing the Inventor. Those are about 50, and those would be novella by my standards, and they would be considered for me on the shorter end of the spectrum. For some other genres like romance, 50,000 words is considered a full length book in some genres. But because I come out of science fiction and fantasy, we used to at least consider 50,000 a novella length. Now it's sort of in the middle. So 60,000 is what was once considered pulp length. So like the 1950s pulp books, that was around like the pulp mystery books and those sorts of things. Those were around 60,000, 50 to 60,000. So I have a couple like that. I think most of the like Delightfully Deadly books are in the 60 to 70,000 range. So Embouchure Door, etc. I think Embouchure Door is probably the longest. So it's probably on the 70 end of the spectrum. And then Poison or Protect is probably on the 60,000 word end of the spectrum. And then the Tinkered Star Song series, those are again, when I write series and I have a little more time to noodle about concepts and world building a little bit longer, than the books themselves are a little bit longer. When I don't have to be as tight, obviously, I can have threads that are left unanswered because I know I'm going to write a second and then a third book in that series, so I can address those threads and leave them unanswered because I will pick them up again in the second book. So those ones, I think Divinity 36, the first one in the series, was a pretty tight 95, and I feel like Dome was also about that. And then the middle book, Demigod 12, is a little bit longer. I think that one is 100,000. I think at the time I wrote that, and probably still, that's the longest book I've ever written, the middle one in the Tinkered Star Song series. But yeah, these are like minutiae that only really authors think about. But I guess you had the question. I've answered it. Someone on Facebook says a 2-book release would be fun. And someone on YouTube says we'd rather just wait for the whole thing. So there it is. This is why I need to do a poll at some point. No other questions from Facebook. Let's see if YouTube has another question. Thank you for the minutia, Holly. Well, thank you for asking, and I hope it helped. I hope it makes it understandable. I mean, most readers only really complain if it feels short to them, right? Like they expected a full-length novel and it feels short, which is one of the reasons why initially the things that I've written that are under 60,000 words, I called them novellas. So Romancing the Inventor, Romancing the Werewolf, and Poison or Protect, I think I called them all novellas. But then I was out of contract, among other things. And also I was writing longer than that, even though it was in the same. And so I just stopped. Now they're just called stories. Now I'm just like, because some of them are novella length and some of them are book length in the same series. And so I'm just like, whatever. We're just writing what the story wants its length to be now. And I have a pretty good handle on it. There are ways as authors to keep things shorter. So for me, if I write a confined time frame and a confined cast of characters, so if it's shorter in time and shorter in number of characters and sort of space, so like house parties, for example, I can keep the book shorter just by virtue of having less stuff to cover. I hope that makes sense. So that's why Romancing the Inventor was very easy to write on a tighter time frame, because it is, right? They're confined to a time and space with the vampires and everything. Same thing with Poison or Protect. So Poison or Protect is my sort of house party murder mystery, except it's not really a murder mystery, but anyway, but with lobsters. And Poison or Protect is that. So, and it's actually one of the tricks that that like Christie, for example, utilized to make her works quite tightly paced is she would do a house party, or like there's a reason small town murder mysteries or so, because you can have sort of a confined cast of characters and location. And it helps to keep the book cleaner, shorter, and tighter, if you don't have to take your characters places. And this current book that I'm working on is exactly the opposite, right? We are covering a vast amount of time and a vast amount of space. Like my characters are traveling all over the globe in this book. Chaos asks, should I get Bumbersnoot as my next tattoo or a brass octopus? Ooh, well, of course I like them both, and I'm extremely flattered that you're getting such tattoos. I will say I have seen the brass octopus more often than I have seen a Bumbersnoot. I don't know if I have ever seen a Bumbersnoot tattoo. So for me personally, that's more exciting because I've never seen one in person before. So I would love it if you got the Bumbersnoot. But oh, how exciting! And thank you so much. I'm extremely flattered that you would even think about it. That is charming. But others weigh in. If you think, which do you think would be a better tattoo, a Bumbersnoot or the brass octopus? These are the questions to ask. Agents of good or agents of evil? To be fair, both of them are agents of chaos, though. Well, shall I try these chips? I'm feeling a little peckish now that we've chatted away. All right. For those who missed the beginning of the live, I said I would live on camera Gale real-time reaction to strange Thai chips, of which I brought back an entire suitcase's worth. These ones are larb flavored. Larb is a Thai salad that's made of a ground meat with a spicy, limey, sour sauce. And I'm a big fan of this flavor profile. So these ones are moo. I think they are moo. Pork flavored as well. All right, here we go. I'm going in. Oh, they're good. They're a little on the sweet side. I don't like my larb too sweet. They are nice and sour, and they're real spicy on the back end, which I very much appreciate. Not a lot is spicy enough for me whenever I come back to the US after Thailand. They're good. So in Thailand, one of the things, so KFC and McDonald's and some of the other like global fast food chains will do a local specialty thing for and ostensibly it's like for the locals, but really it's for travelers to go into McDonald's or KFC and see all of their familiar favorites, but also see this one thing that is a specialty of the area. So KFC in Thailand does a larb seasoning called Zap or Zing or Zab or something. Anyway, and it's very similar to this. So you can get like the KFC chicken, but it has this sort of spicy, sour, a little sweet umami. I wish there was a little bit more like lemongrassy herbaceousness to these. Yeah, they often post like fresh lemongrass and sometimes cilantro or mint or one of the other herbs into it. And that I think is the component I'm missing the most from these chips. But I like their sourness and I do like their heat. They're nice and spicy. That's love. That bit is very exciting. So like I said before, if you come to the manga launch party next weekend, I'm going to bring some of the last straggling chips. I've only been back for 2 weeks, but I have managed to offload a lot of the snacks. About 12 of my very close friends from high school came over, and we decimated some snacks. And then anybody who's visited me since, I've been like, "Would you like to try a very strange Thai snack?" It's been a lot of fun. Speaking of which, here is the manga. I did post a reel of me hooting at this because I got it, and I guess I knew that it was going to be very chubby because it is 3 books in one. But I did not realize how fat this book is. My darlings, this is the fattest book I have ever written. I mean, admittedly, I didn't really write it. It's been drawn for me. But still, I, who have been very proud about the fact that I've never written a doorstop, I'm not really a doorstop kind of author. I have a door stopper on my hands, everybody. Isn't it remarkably enormous? It's so big, but I am very charmed by it. So if you missed getting the manga the first time around, if you are missing one of the volumes, all three of them are now in the omnibus. No, we're not gonna do. Unfortunately, we're not. It's still not gonna be continued. Rem is, I think, doing work for animation now. I mean, she is skyrocketed. We are now peanuts. But we were very lucky to have her for the 3 books we got her for, and yeah, I'm super excited about it. So this comes out on the 23rd, Tuesday, I think, Tuesday the 23rd, I believe, and then the launch party is on the 28th. But yeah, it's the first book I've ever written that it just stands up on its own. I can just plonk it down and it just stays on its bottom, no problems whatsoever. So that's kind of exciting. Oh, you can't see it there. So, in other news, in case you missed it, The Heroine's Journey, which is my nonfiction, came out in Korea. This is my first Korean translation. I'm very excited about it. I think Korean is such a cool script. I love its sort of blocky, tidy, square circle-ness. I find it an extremely appealing script. I wish I read it. Someday I will learn. Anyway, it's out in Korean, and I got a lovely little email, DM, over Instagram from my first reader. I mean, I'm hoping I have other readers, of course, but the first one who reached out to me to say that she really liked this book. So that was very exciting for me. So author news, I was really, really chuffed and thrilled. It's like, yes, everybody's like, Chunky, she's a chunky girl, but Chunky, our new beastie. Yeah, I'm really happy with the omnibus. It's cute. Holly is asking an off-topic question. Do we have any other questions? Doesn't look like. Oh, congratulations. Thank you. Doorstop size. Um, cute. All right. Okay, so no other questions. So I'm going to take the off-topic question, which Holly has said. Holly has also said that they're going to a K-pop dance party that day and cannot come to my event. And I'm like, that is a very good excuse. I would love to be going to a K-pop dance party. That sounds like a real blast. Right. So, the question, where was it? Oh, did I see season 4 of Bridgerton? I'm afraid to say I haven't. Have I seen all 3 seasons? Have I seen all 3 seasons? I've seen the first 3 seasons. I feel like I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so bad about this stuff. I'm really bad at keeping up with movies on television, etc., streaming. Yes, I don't know if I made it. I think I eventually made it completely through the 3rd season. I have to say I was not wowed by the 3rd season, and so no, I've not watched the 4th one. I don't have Netflix. I lost the Netflix with the divorce. It's fine. I barely watched anything on Netflix, so I don't. But it just means that if I would like to watch one of these things, I need to make big eyes at one of my friends and go land on their couch for an afternoon and be like, I would like to binge watch fill in the blank. So it's that's really what needs to happen. And I honestly have not. I mean, it could be because I've been out of it because I've been in Thailand, but I haven't heard as much sort of chatter and enthusiasm over the 4th season. So maybe that's me. Maybe it really isn't as good as the second. I think the 2nd season was my favorite. Kate, yeah, the 2nd season was my favorite. Oh, yes. All right. Holly says that I saw season 3 because I said it was fine. There you go. But see, not so fun, not so much more than fun that it actually stuck in my head at all. So, yes. So there seems to be agreement amongst the comments that the 3rd season is and that we don't love the 4th season. Kevin asks whether I would consider an anime. So I was under contract. I had an option clause with an anime production house for an adaptation of the Solace series for several years, and it lapsed 2 years ago. But for Federator Studios, who I can't remember, they did a lot of stuff you would know about. They're very good out of Canada, and I was very excited about it. But in classic Hollywood fashion, nothing happened. So that's the way of that part of this industry is, you people get enthusiastic and then they get the option and then they don't do anything with it. So that's the way it goes. I actually always thought my books are best suited to animation. I think, Bridgerton notwithstanding, it's extremely expensive to do historicals of that type, and then my stuff is extra expensive because it has supernatural creatures and, fancy pants technology in it, so it's a lot of CGI and other work, and then there's, like, adventures and moving through into different countries, and it's just a very expensive proposition, my books, to film, but much less so to animate. So I thought animation would have been great, but it's not up to us authors pretty much ever. Like, we have very little say in that side of this equation of life. Um, oh, Dick, I'm so sorry. Yes, the Europeans are like, "Ooh, we're late." And I was like, "Right, California did daylight savings. I'm so sorry. I always forget. I should have warned you all in the announcement of the live that we had daylight savings last Sunday." So, yes. Which I'm the only one who's like, "Whatever," because I was already jet lagged, so it didn't really impact me that much. I'd just gotten back. I was like, "What?" The clocks aren't affecting me at all because I was already all on the wrong time zone. But yeah, I'm so sorry. Maybe that's why people have forgotten that this is happening, or they've just missed it because they think it's going to happen in about 20 minutes. More discussion about Bridgerton. Ty's gone off on a social outing with the popster. Have fun. Oh, Holly says that they really liked the fourth season of Bridgerton, so maybe I should give it a try. Weigh in, everybody. Is the fourth season better than the third season? Is it worth watching? Yes, and then somebody else says that YouTube doesn't warn you, and I was like, that is actually normal unless I go in and schedule the live well ahead of time on YouTube. It doesn't tell you it's coming, and frankly, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. And I'm really scared to go in and schedule a live and then you all think there's a live and it's just me trying to figure out how it works, and then I don't actually do a live because I'm trying to figure out how. Anyway, so yeah. This is Gail versus technology. Again, I'm really bad at it. I'm just bad at technology. I'm so sorry. And now I don't have any tea or anything. I've run out of beverages. Okay. People think 4 is better than 3. All right. Well, maybe I'll give it a watch. I do have a couple of other things I need to watch on Netflix first, so they do take priority, but perhaps I will go back to Bridgerton. I don't know. I was never like a huge in the fandom of Bridgerton. So in terms of I liked it well enough. I enjoyed it. I like aspects of it very much, but it's not for me personally, it's not like must see. But then, very little is must see for me television wise. Someone else said this in the comment that they have live scheduled on their calendar, which I think is very flattering. Thank you very much. I'm charmed. Kevin liked Queen Charlotte's season. That one I thought was rather, I think is supposed to be quite dark, and so I was like, I'm not really into that. And Rhonda says that the most recent season was the best one. So, well, that's exciting. Well, they are sort of hitting their stride, so. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to relay onto you. I mean, you get quite a bit of the core gossip in the Chirrup, but yeah, I mean it's not generally happy news, so probably best not to do it in the live. I don't want to be a downer. I want to make sure I'm upbeat for everybody. Yeah. I should have prepped talking points. We love the Chirrup. Yay, thank you. The Chirrup gets a lot of love and attention in it. Yeah, I will say that the current work in progress is very exciting because it is I have a creature that has never before been seen in England, not in living memory anyway. So a new kind of shifter creature. And I just plopped him, and he's very much a little trickster character, and he's adorable, and everybody adores him, but he's also a bit of a snarky little so-and-so. And he is been dropped into the werewolf London pack with Lord Macon and Alexia and High Society, and he is causing a ruckus. And he is about to meet Lord Akaldama, and I honestly have no idea what's gonna. I mean, the world might explode. I have no idea what's gonna happen. They're kind of peas in a pod-ish, except very different, but also like they could get along like a house on fire, or they could very much conflict. We're about to find out. I don't know. So that's what's getting written next. Um, Working problem. Yes, it exactly. Oh, someone says there was another question in the YouTube, so I'll go. Please try to remember if you have a question to put a question mark at the beginning. It just makes me a lot easier for me to find them amongst the comments. Yeah. Oh, would I ever write a witchy paranormal historical romance? It's not on my radar. I don't know that I would, but I never rule anything out. I'm open to being influenced. But, yes. People are guessing what kind of shifter. Rhonda asks, "Any cat news?" No cat at the moment. For me personally, since I've been gone, obviously, and I'm still not sure if I am ready for a new cat, so we're leaving that on the wayside. Cats are a delightful but complicated business for me since I insist on training my cats to use the toilet. So they cannot use a litter box, or they use a litter box and then I wean them off the litter box. So I need to be home for a while to be with the cat and to be training the cat and so forth. And I also, my life is still very much in flux. So I've traded off dealing with my father for stepfather and then also Piper. So I want to be able to get up and move real fast and go places if I need to in cases of emergency. So I will, of course, have a cat again. And I'm sure in retirement, should that such a beast ever be something for me, I will have a cat. But right now, life seems a little too unsettled for the commitment that would take from me. Dippity is still catching along, and she is utterly impossible. And of course, while I was in Thailand, I was at times living with an extremely handsome and very gentlemanly corgi named Corbin, who is delightful for those of you who are dog lovers as well, or instead of. I also am very fond of a well-behaved dog, and Corbin is very well-behaved, and I like Corbin very much. We get along quite well. So I did get some doggo time as well. And yes, I haven't seen Dip since I've been back, since I haven't been out to my mom's place. But that's my mom's cat, Nippity, who's a piece of work. Still, as my mother reports in, a troublesome teenager. And I said, shouldn't she be growing out of that? And mother said, never. And also, she's useless. My mom believes cats should work, as in kill golfers. That is my mother's definition of cat work. And Dippity is not deadly. Dippity is not so smart. Not really a mighty huntress, and mostly just a problem child. And mom adores this cat more than is reasonable. I think it is because she's sort of an empty nester now, so she can finally love a cat and not just put a cat to work. In prior years, I have loved the cats, and she has seen the cats as working labor. This cat is not doing any labor whatsoever, but my mother loves her incandescently, and I'm like, that's fine. So Dippity is problem child number one. Dippity is a polydactyl. I think she's like a six dactyl. She's like 6 or 7 little. She's got the massive paws, and then a very long body, and then tiny head. And I was like, that walnut brain is not a very big walnut brain, and no, it is not. But she's a very sweet cat. What other cats have I seen recently? The cats of our lives. Yeah, that's it. I haven't really met. I mean, I get cats. I get sent cats by loyal friends, and occasionally you all on a Saturday will send me pictures of your cats. So I love your cats vicariously through the internet. But I haven't been around many recently, which is sad. I should increase my cat exposure. I did almost go see a capybara while I was in Thailand, and then they have a capybara cafe in Thailand, like cat cafes everywhere else. But I didn't make it. It was not on the priority list. Just reading some watching the costume reviews. Yes, I do like back to Bridgerton. We're having a dual conversation here, everybody, but I do like the costuming in Bridgerton. It's not historically accurate, but I don't demand that. I know what to watch if I want to watch for historical accuracy. I do enjoy things like Bridgerton and oh goodness, what was that time travel Scottish romance? Outlander. I do enjoy those kinds of things where they play with the costuming intentionally. They intentionally skew it non-historical. So, in order to play with characterization and alt reality, and so there's almost a magical realism to the costuming department. I do like that. Actually, it is one of the appeals for me with Bridgerton. I know some people don't like it, but I like it. Somebody says Dibbity sounds aptly named. Yes, indeed. Um, Somebody says I ordered 2 of the omnibuses, omnipresent. um, I don't know what, I think it would be buses. Omnipode? How about omnipode? More than one is omnipode. Um, I love thank you for ordering 2 of them. That is very, very delightful. You now can door stopper 2 doors in your house, even a very heavy door. But I do hope you will read them. Capybara I was thinking recently that a capybara would make a wonderful shifter, but, like, a capybara is like a laid back, weed head surfer dude shifter. I mean, they're just like, "Dude." I mean, I you saw that thing I posted in the Chirrup recently where I was like, "Capybara named Peach Blossom," or whatever her name was, "wins record for longest time spent in bathtub," and I was like, "That's a capybara for you." I mean, yeah, there they are. They're just so chill. I was like, I guess it's cool to be the biggest rodent ever. You're just like, who cares about me? I'm not tasty. I love the pictures of capybaras like making friends with other animals or with just like random birds sitting on their heads and stuff like that. They're a pretty cool animal. They would make a fun shifter species because they're just like, yeah, relax, dude. I just imagine capybaras like that. Um, Sorry. Yay, new shifters. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I would love I love writing a new shifter species. It's really fun because I kind of do a dive into the animal, like how everything about them, like how they procreate, how they associate with each other, their range, the different varieties or species or subspecies, the different coat colors, eye colors, all this. So I have to do this sort of deep dive into whatever new shifter spirit, and I have to do all of the animal stuff. And then I try to really like research how that animal behaves. I will often like watch a lot of videos on the animal to try and give little facets of the personality to the human version of the animal, just for my own amusement and for fun with characterization and stuff. But I think it would be um people are recommending other shifters. So one of my I mean, most shifters in my universe is the shifter rules is the preservation of mass, which is why a capybara is a good one because they're about well, they're pretty big. They're human sized, weight wise. The preservation of mass and weight is easy to do with a capybara. Um, and capybara would be a fun yes, a capybara running like a spa or a hot springs retreat or or capybaras running a campground or a water park or something. That'd be really fun. Somebody who ordered 2 omnibuses, someone else said that that's gonna be a very heavy package. I was like, "Yeah, that's a box." My delivery of my author copies, I was like, "Well, I'm glad I didn't have to carry them up 2 flights of stairs." Question from Holly again. Thank you, Holly, for weighing in with so many questions. I very much appreciate it. How did I decide on the Mer people social hierarchy? Oh, what a fun question. For those who haven't read it, the Drotsi Dilemma has Mer people in it. Um, I really wanted and thought a lot about, matriarchal animal like, I was thinking about I mean, this is not merpeople. Merpeople, I was not gonna use fish. Fish are a little boring personality-wise to me personally. No offense, fish people. So I looked at, like, meerkat and hyena, like animals that are somewhat pack animals, but are ruled by the by breeding females. I just, and to a certain extent, chickens, not quite, but with chickens, when you take away a rooster, they behave in interesting ways. But so yeah, so it was that was sort of part of the animal research I did when I was building the merpeople, but it was 3 years ago that I was writing the merpeople, so it's been a while. I don't remember very much about it except that. But yeah, I always when I'm writing in that universe, the San Andreas universe, and to a certain extent the Parasol verse as well, one of the things I want is for the feel of the different shifter species to feel unique and also different by comparison to the other shifter species that I have created. So, unique within the scope of shifter universes, but also unique within the scope of my shifter universe, because I want to be able to play on culture conflict between the shifters, not conflict, although that's also possible, but also like just I love misunderstandings and the meat of world building that comes from characters not understanding each other because they come from different cultures. And of course, I can write that with people from different actual human cultures, but I can also write that by writing shifter cultures that are different. So, for example, different understandings about how third form is, different semantics, like different words for the different states of being a shifter, different ways of breeding or making new shifters. Every time I create a shifter species, I spend a lot of time thinking about how that will work. Like the vampires with the queens and the maker fangs, and then the werewolves with the teeth and there's clearly saliva involved, right? And so and then in this new species where I have a character who's one of them, so I'm really going in depth into this new species in the Parasolverse, like how they transfer and make new members of their shifter race and so on and so forth is very, very different. But also their understanding and concept of what it means to be a shifter is completely different because they're from the Far East, basically, to use the British term. So how they even conceive of shifterness and whether it's monstrosity or not, or beast, which state is their real state. I mean, that was the for me with the mer people, that was the funnest thing to write was the fact that mermaids consider their state when they are with tail their natural state and their human form is their shifted state. So the way werewolves are like, well, we're humans and then we shift into a wolf. Mermaids are like, well, we're mermaids and then we shift into a human. So they're completely flip-flopped from most shifter species that I'd ever written before. And that's an entirely different mindset for me as an author to have to climb into in order to write them properly. So and I'm doing it again with my current main character is like she does not see the world of being a shifter the same way that any of my other shifters have ever seen themselves as. And also her race is a scavenger race. It's not a predator race. So she also sees the whole world differently because of her means for survival and being an apex predator. That's not part of her identity at all. And it's never had to be. And so what motivates her and what motivates her entire species is completely different from the vampires and the werewolves in particular. So there's a lot of like misunderstanding and culture conflict, but there's also my werewolf character who is the love interest who goes native and ends up with her, goes native in the Victorian sense of the word, is like kind of partly raised by them. And so he has a completely different mindset as well because he's sort of adopted into this other shifter species. Anyway, it's really fun. It's really fun to write. It's really fun to invent, and I very much appreciate the question. Sasquatch shifter anthologies are happening. That's fun. Wow. I'm just scanning through a couple of comments, seeing if there's any last questions before we close out. Oh, Sue, I'm so sorry. It is great to be back. I am delighted to be home. And yeah, it looks like there are no more questions. So I promise we'll have a more meticulous outline and discussion next time. But I mean, we'll probably talk a little bit about the manga. Um, and yeah, I hope some of you can make it to the launch if you're local. Otherwise, check out the events page. I've started to pick up some conventions all around different places. I'll be in Chicago coming up, a couple of other places. So if you have a chance to come see me in person, you know I would love to meet you in person or see you again if we've met before. Bring snacks, bring weird chips, share weird chips with me. And yeah, I'll see you probably next month for another live. Let's see if we can do this again now that I'm back and on the right time frame. Um, yes. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody in the comments on YouTube says, hit the like button if you can. That always is helpful. Give us a little thumbs up. That's always appreciated. Thank you for those of you old guards still sticking to me on Facebook. I am waiting for them to simply shut down the option of doing this on Facebook, which is why I've been trying to provide YouTube as an alternative. But I hope you all have absolutely lovely weekends and have some lovely tea or a tisane for me and eat a lovely tasty nibble and let me know if it was good and what it was. And I'll talk to you all in a month or I'll talk to you in the next chirp. Bye.